Some people that have looked at the information from the Dead Sea Scrolls in Qumran have said that Jesus was an Essene. What do you think?
Well, the Qumran Scrolls are fascinating documents. They reveal the life of a sect of early Judaism that shared some things in common with Jesus. For one thing, they believed that the eschatological age was at hand, that the final crucial actions of God were coming down in their own day and in their own time, and they needed to be ready. That's why they'd gone out to the Dead Sea and were hunkering down and waiting for God to do His thing, to clean the land out and refound Judaism. That was part of the essence of who the Essenes were. But the other thing about the Essenes is they were, perhaps even more than the Pharisees, sticklers about ritual purification, about precise punctiliar observance of the Mosaic law, and a host of things like that. They were a kind of scribal community, copying documents, collecting documents, preparing themselves for the end to come. They were more like monks in a monastery. Jesus, on the other hand, was a public figure. He went out to the least, the last, and the lost. He ate with tax collectors and sinners. His message was public. He was preaching in Galilee. He went up to feasts in Judea. He had not simply anathematized what was happening in Jerusalem and written it off and gone off into the desert like the Qumran people. So, and I think there are some aspects of what we find in the Qumran Scrolls. They believed that there would be a messianic figure coming. Jesus certainly seems to have believed that as well in regard to his own self. There were some similarities between these two, but the truth of the matter is there are more differences than similarities between the Essenes and Jesus. I will say that I think there are some fairly strong similarities between John the Baptist and the Qumran community.
Yeah, some of the folks were saying that John the Baptist was a wild and crazy guy. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Well, I think he was a prophetic figure, much like many other Old Testament prophetic figures, like Ezekiel, who did prophetic sign acts, like Daniel, like Jeremiah, very much like some of the later prophetic figures. And that's how he was viewed. He dressed in a fashion like another northern prophet, namely Elijah. He acted in a fashion very much like Amos, proclaiming, "Here comes the judge, here comes the judge. God is going to judge the people. They need to repent and be prepared for its coming." I think that John is a very significant figure. He's certainly an eschatological prophet, and he, in many ways, was far more like the Qumran folks than Jesus was. He was out in the chalk wilderness of Judea, saying, you need to come out here and be purified. Well, that's what the Qumran community was doing as well. There are these similarities with Qumran, between John and Qumran. Jesus is less clearly associated with Qumran and less similar. He was more of a public figure, and his message was not all doom and gloom. His message was, this is the good news.